everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is April, and for today's video we are talking about the power of comparison. And I know that that's a little bit of a touchy topic for some people, but before we get into that, I just want to show you guys the tea that I'm drinking. I'm having apple cinnamon French toast tea from Robinson's Tea Room. I know it sounds a little bizarre. Robinson's Tea Room is a tea room that is close to where I live. It's out in Stony Brook, Long Island, and this tea tastes exactly like you would expect it to taste. It tastes to me like the apple cinnamon oatmeal that you have from Quaker, which is incredible. Also, my parents really like this tea and they're not into quirky things like that, so it's really good. You need to try it. Okay, so to get into the power of comparison, I know that this topic can be a little bit touchy for people. By the way, I wrote a whole blog on this. If you want to read it, you can go ahead and read it. I'll link it down below. It's pretty much just going to be me reiterating what I wrote in my blog, but I just wanted to vocalize this. I feel as though everywhere I turn, whenever I'm sort of retaining information from whether it's social media or you know, watching YouTube videos or reading blogs or just hearing people talk in public, everyone is always like, don't compare yourself, don't compare yourself, don't compare yourself, like it's unhealthy, and you're perfect as you are, which you are, but that's a whole other point to that. I'll get to that in a second. People feel as though the advertising industry, social media, all of that is like forcing them to behave, look, and act a certain way, which it's not true. First off, you can do whatever you want, so there's that. But they believe that you're like deemed unworthy or you're not considered successful, and that's what people are trying to make you believe. And I have to completely disagree, and I think I'm like the one person who might disagree with this, but let me just explain this. While most of my mental qualities are not up to par with my wishful standard of living, I do have one quality that I am quite grateful for, and that is my competitiveness. Some people think that being competitive is unhealthy. I don't. When I say competitive, I'm not referring to winning, which is awesome, or losing, which is never awesome. I'm referring to the desire and the ambition to constantly grow and develop into who you want to be. I'm constantly being competitive with myself. I always want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to feel better than I felt yesterday. I want to be smarter than I was yesterday. I just have this desire and enthusiasm to just continuously be more than what I am at the moment. And that's not to say that I'm not grateful for who I am now, or that I don't think that I'm a good person or worthy the way that I am now. I do, but I know I can do better, because I think that when you respect yourself enough and when you really truly love yourself, you know that you can do better. You're like, okay, that's great that I'm doing this, but let me take it a step further. I can challenge myself. I'm smarter than this. I know I can push myself a little bit more. And I think that whether you are like me, where you're competing in a pageant, or you're eager to get a promotion, or you're being innovative, or you're just like, you have some sort of goal. If you have any sort of goal, it is a goal because it's something that you don't have now that you want to have now, but you don't have it because you're not there yet. So in order for you to get there, you have to grow. And in order for you to grow, you have to admit that you're not perfect. And that's okay. And I think sometimes people see this on social media and they get so offended. Monkey, stop doing that. She crawls across the bottom of the couch like a little weird demon. She just does this weird thing. She does it all the time. She like finds it fun. Anyway, she's crazy. We keep telling ourselves that we're perfect the way that we are, and you're worthy the way that you are. There's no doubt about that, but that doesn't mean that there's no room for you to grow. And I think sometimes we push the two together, and we don't allow ourselves to say, hey, I love myself, but I know I can do better. It's always, I love myself exactly the way I am and I'm fine and I don't need to change, or I'm completely insecure and I need to continue to be better, like in the perfectionism mindset. And you don't need to be in either of those. You can be in a completely separate bubble, and you can say, no, I love myself and I know that I'm worthy, and because I love myself and I know that I'm smart and I'm capable, I'm gonna push myself to do the next thing because I know that I can, and right now I'm not. And then so once you get past that, that's when it comes down to the comparison factor, and that's when it comes down to being truly competitive, because there are so many things that you can learn from your predecessors or the people that you aspire to be like. or the people that you are looking at on social media, which really isn't a bad thing. Everyone's always like, oh, just stop looking, stop scrolling through your news feed. It's just gonna make you insecure. No, it's not. It's gonna be like, hey, yeah, you know what? That girl that like I think is like I'm doing amazing things. Maybe I should go do something. Maybe I should go do that, you know, rather than sitting there and ripping yourself apart. There's a whole other way that you can look at it, and we're just choosing to look at it in a negative way, and I have no idea why. I think we're missing a huge benefit by doing that, because when we look at our competitors, we can learn from their victories, we can learn from their failures, we can learn things so much more quickly when we just take the time to sit there and observe and humble ourselves enough that we're able to say there's something to be learned from this person, because a wise person knows that there's something to be learned from everyone. Also, learning from your competitors and the people that you aspire to be like is a wonderful time saver, because we're able to see what works and what doesn't right off the bat, rather than having to go through that whole trial and error period ourselves. And sometimes things are going to be different for each person, but for the most part, we can learn so much from them, which is so helpful and will just save us so much energy. A lot of people think that when you're comparing yourself, you're trying to like be like that person, but that's not actually true. Comparison does not equal replication, and society always seems to confuse the two. What comparison is doing is saying, there's this attribute in somebody that I really like and I want to possess that. How did they do it? Or this person has a great talent and I would love to be able to do that, but I can't. How did they learn it? It's about noticing the differences between the things that you're doing and the things that other people are doing, and allowing those differences to then be implemented into your life. That way you can say, okay, I'm gonna start doing this myself now. And then you can pick up on that talent and you can get that promotion, and you can, you know, be who you want to be because you've learned from the people before you who have already been through it. It's just such a benefit, and we don't take advantage of it. One of the things that I talked about in my blog was that there's a saying that goes, always be the first-rate version of yourself and never the second-rate version of somebody else, something along those lines. But that doesn't mean that learning where you stand in comparison to somebody else is unhealthy. It just means that you're learning certain things that you're missing. Not only are you going to learn from strengths from other people and be able to grow in that sense, but there are also benefits where sometimes you'll say, you know what, I like the way that I'm doing this better, and I think this is why I love myself. And then you'll start to learn about your own strengths and your own good qualities when you're comparing yourself, because you'll learn certain things that you also do better than other people, and those people are probably comparing themselves to you and learning from you. And that's the thing, is that I don't think we should ever be foolish enough to believe that there's no room for personal growth, or that there's nothing I can learn from the people that are around me or the people that I'm looking at on social media. I think exposing your mind to other people's tactics and their tools and their strengths is vital to personal development, and so efficient. It's such an efficient way. Rather than you needing to figure out everything yourself, you have sort of a guideline. It's almost like a personal map of the way that you can go about your own life, just from the things that history has taught us from the people who have already done the things that you're trying to do. And the last thing I want to say is that I understand that sometimes when you're comparing yourself, it can cause anxiety, insecurity, and sometimes feelings of just simple inadequacy. But we must remember that, like I said earlier, while we learn from others, they also learn from us. You know, people are looking at you and saying that they want to be like you, they want to do the things that you're doing, and you're going to look at other people, and sometimes you're going to like the way that you do things better than the way that other people do things. So you need to let that drive your confidence, and also let that allow you to remain humble enough to learn from those around you. You have to put your fears aside and commit to strength and the will to do your absolute best. So that's all I have to say today for this video. I hope you guys like this video. I hope that I expressed it in a way that you can understand. It makes a lot of sense in my head, but I know sometimes it's hard to communicate something like that to somebody else, especially when it's coming down to your core values and what you truly believe in for yourself. But yeah, we are all worthy, and there's room for all of us to grow. So don't be afraid to go looking at other people and saying, hey, I want to do something like that, and then going and committing to doing it. But that's all I have to say about that. I hope you guys liked this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and hit the subscribe button as well as turn on the bell notifications so that way you can get notified whenever I put out a new video. Don't forget to click right here to go watch my last video, as I recently won Miss New York Earth, and I talk all about that in the Miss Earth United States organization in that video, so please go watch that, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.